Welcome back to another amazing episode of the FitBiz Journey podcast. Today I have an amazing guest for you guys, or I should say we have an amazing guest for you guys. It's Pat Rigsby himself, who is an amazing father, husband, entrepreneur, coach, and six-time best-selling author. And we're going to talk about that in the order, why I said it in this order. There's actually a story behind that I really love, and I should probably live up to that as well myself. But I will get there, because I'm going to learn from Pat that why he's doing it this way and why I should actually do the same, because I think that's the secret to happy and long life. So Pat, can you please just tell us, how did you even get here, and how did you even get started? Because I don't know if the listeners know, in case they don't know, I just want to mention that you have started, I would say, countless businesses as a CEO, as a co-owner, and you have, some of them became multi-million-dollar businesses, and I think almost all of them went over $1 million at least, right?
We did some kind of exciting things over time, but really, I was a college baseball coach, college strength coach, taught at the university, did lessons and some of that stuff on the side to make ends meet. I actually became a head coach in both those roles at the ripe old age of 23.
Wow.
So kind of trial by fire, and it certainly wasn't a great job. They don't give a great job like that to a 23-year-old. But it really kind of helped me put myself in both a leadership position, but then also, coaching at the collegiate level is so much like business. I mean, recruiting is very much like marketing and selling, and you still have the operational component. You still have to lead. You still have to do a lot of development with people. I mean, you coming from an athletic background, you certainly appreciate that. And so after about 7 years of that, I moved into the private sector and got into the fitness industry. Really, I mean, those were the two things that I was excited about: fitness, strength and conditioning, and then baseball. And so moved into that, and it took me about 1.5 years to kind of get my bearings and understand some of the differences between working in a university setting, which is very bureaucratic, and
I can see that.
and then kind of controlling so much of your own destiny as an entrepreneur. So opened a business in 2004 in a small town in the middle of Kentucky, not exactly what probably a lot of people would consider a hotbed for fitness. We had about 23,000 people in that town. It's a little bit bigger now. It's grown. But built it up in 18 months, had around 420 clients.
Wow.
And opened up a second location about an hour and 45 minutes away in another town, a little bit bigger town. It did very well, and so about that time, people started saying, well, what are you guys doing? How are you having success there? I mean, we'd go to small workshops and conferences, and other attendees would be asking us these questions. And so, ultimately I collaborated with a gentleman who actually lives here in Orlando, Eric Ruth, and launched the first information product that I was involved in. There weren't a lot of people doing that in the fitness business landscape at that time. Eric was one of them, doing a lot with direct response marketing, and I didn't have an audience, so I said, well, I want to collaborate. I've got good intellectual property, but not necessarily anybody who'd know who I was. And so did that. It turned into some opportunities to do some coaching moving forward, and then from there, things just kind of snowballed. There were opportunities that were kind of put forth that I'm sure that you've probably experienced as well. If you're doing good work in a particular arena, typically more opportunities come along. Sadly, a lot of people just pursue opportunities and forget about the doing good work side of it. But doing pretty good work there, and so it would create new things that founded 2 franchise organizations that were kind of like sibling organizations. One for youth fitness sports performance, one for adult fitness. Collectively, there were about 275 locations between those. education, certification companies, business coaching, but really in the time when my now 8-year-old son was young, like before he had started school, I was starting to kind of feel the ill effects of just spreading myself too thin. It's like I'm trying to be everywhere, and I don't necessarily know that I'm doing a great job at any of them. And so I made a decision late 2013 that I'm like, I need to pursue a different direction. I need to kind of recalibrate, and it took a while to kind of navigate what that was going to look like. And then obviously if you're involved in, at that point, over a dozen businesses, is not just a shareholder, but an active participant, like kind of unwinding some of that and selling. So at the end of 2014, sold all that and started what I do now, which is largely, it's business coaching, consulting for people who want to build their ideal business. So maybe people that, they want to have a really significant professional impact, but they want to make sure that it's not something that overshadows the personal life they want to lead as well.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And guys, I hope that you are listening and you mentioned a franchise. I put a note because I believe that your franchise that you have been involved for a long time was listed in Inc.'s 5,000, placing as high as 580. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then I think I put somewhere else that you also had 2 franchises, which was the Fitness Revolution and
Athletic Revolution.
Athletic Revolution. So also both reached number 1 in their actual field, right?
Yeah, they were both in the Entrepreneur Franchise 500. They were both in their respective categories, the top ranked, and then in Franchise Business Review, that kind of parent organization was the number 1 ranked, not just fitness franchise for franchisee satisfaction, but mid-size, so under 500 locations of all franchises in North America. So, I mean, we were doing things that I think, we were making the franchisees happy. They were having a good experience. It was a relationship-centric business that I think that so many of the people in the fitness industry, that's part of what draws us to this. Mm-hmm. But, I didn't want to look up 25 years from now and say, you know what, I've got a full bank account, but a really empty life.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing when you've got kids, they're changing and they're evolving this whole time. And so I fortunately, it just kind of hit me. I looked at my older one, Tyler, who at that point was around 11, 12, and Alex, who was really young, he was about 3. I'm like, man, 3 turns into 12 in the blink of an eye. And it's like, I don't want to miss any of this. I want to be involved. That doesn't mean I don't want to pursue my own professional aspirations. But, I kind of had to look in the mirror and say, well, if you're good enough to build these businesses, you should be good enough to build something that allows you to enjoy both professional and personal success.
I love that. And this is why the titles that you have mentioned, it started with?
The Ideal Business Formula?
No, sorry. The titles.
Oh,
father.
That's Father. Yes.
Number 1 was Father.
I definitely take the parenting responsibilities as a pretty serious one. I didn't. I would hope most parents do, but I think, okay, it's my responsibility to not only raise a person to hopefully set them up to be successful in whatever they want to be as an adult, but I need to lead by example, right? Because our children are observing our behaviors. It's not up to a school or a sports team or something else to instill values and to teach them those things. So when I list out my my life responsibilities, that's number 1. I take that pretty seriously, but I think it's a cool opportunity for all of us entrepreneurs to show, the kids in our lives what's possible.
Yeah. I think what I love about that, Pat, is also like, yeah, you're a hero for your kids, but you're setting an example for all the other businesses that you're influencing. Like, hey, by the way, it's great that we're building your business, but your priority should still maybe be this. So entrepreneurs are usually one set mind where they're like, all right, let's get that success, whatever that looks like, and do whatever it takes. Sometimes you see family neglected. So
yeah, and I don't know you guys' experiences with this, but when I've set these big, lofty, professional goals, somehow when you get there, like when we hit I remember getting Entrepreneur Magazine and seeing this ranking and everything else, and I remember pursuing it so avidly, and then you get there and it's kind of let down, and it's just this hollow thing.
yeah.
It's like, no, the process, the journey is the important stuff. So you need to make sure that you're embarking on a journey that's going to be fulfilling, and you're not just waiting on the destination to be where the fulfillment comes.
Yeah, I agree with you. We were in Entrepreneur Magazine as well, so I know exactly the feeling. But when we were in there, I was like, oh, this is cool, but I mean, nothing really came out of it. I mean, like,
No, and you go back to work the next day, like, okay, well,
exactly.
I got to keep doing stuff, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So I wanted to bring up a couple of things. So because you did it a little bit different, I believe that, well, I guess you did start with one business at first, right? But then you also went into so many other ones at the same time. So my question would be to the listeners who are probably just starting out with as either a personal trainer or a gym owner, and they might want to get into online coaching, they might want to get into, let's say, another location or another business or stock trading, like, the multiple things.
Or even franchising,
or
they
even
might be thinking about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So my question would be, would you recommend to them to just stick to one thing until they like master it, or just make it to some degree to a level, or you are more open to like doing more at the same time for a little bit, or what would you recommend?
So I think with anything, there's probably a threshold where there's diminishing returns, right? But I think that we're all going to be better off if we pursue something to the point that, hey, we're doing this at a really, really high level. Because what I've found is if you're doing that, it creates more opportunities anyway.
Yeah.
So, I would never tell anybody that, hey, you can only do this one thing, because it would be kind of disingenuous knowing my path. But I would say that the reason I got opportunities to do these other things were that we were doing something really well, right? The opportunities to coach other people came from building a business to over 400 clients in a town of 23,000 people. It didn't just happen from, well, hey, I got one Facebook ad to work, so now I'm an expert. I mean, there was proof. And I think that what's so wonderful about business is that if you do get depth in something and you do something really well, you're not going to have any limitations with opportunities. There are always going to be opportunities, but you're going to have learned what your strengths are, what excites you, and carry those into the next arena, rather than just depending on, well, this one tactic worked for us. I mean, years ago, I remember when you'd see gyms fill up completely running a couple Groupons.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And those gym owners might have thought, well, hey, we're really good at this, our gym's full. But really they were relying on one tactic, and they hadn't perfected any one thing, or even, got to a level of excellence in any one thing. And so if they tried to scale, when Groupon dried up, they were in trouble. Whereas if you do get depth with something, you can say, well, these are the things that I'm good at. These are the things I can look back and say, they led me to this, and those traits are going to carry over. I mean, if I look back, the things that allowed me to be a pretty successful college baseball coach are all the exact same things that have helped me in business.
It's good that you brought that up, because I was going to ask you that. What do you think about the coaching? Because you have went through coaching yourself, and then you had to coach. So I assume in your company with employees, you're probably using similar things for able to coach and lead by example, I assume too, right?
Yeah, I think that so much of what I do today is, it either stems from things that worked really well during my time as a college baseball coach, or things that maybe didn't particularly work well that I learned and improved on. Running an organization like that, so many things carry over. Recruiting is very much marketing and selling. Player development is like taking your clients and helping them reach their goals. It's the same thing, right? Having assistant coaches, I had a 136-page playbook that was basically our operations manual, right? But then the thing that I loved about that environment, it was kind of twofold. Two things that I remember were that I take away with me all the time. One, in sports, there's a scoreboard. And I think that the scoreboard is a motivator. Like as a coach, if you're measured by wins or losses. It doesn't really matter if you say, well, we're getting better or whatever else. There's a metric. Yep. And so knowing that when you get to business, having some clear ways to measure success are key. And then the second thing was, these parents, and mind you, I was pretty young at the time. These parents are trusting me to help them move their kids from adolescence to adulthood. And there are so many relationships. Now, there's never a week that goes by I'm not texting or talking with former players, and it's been, over 15 years that the last one I was with. One of them is an assistant coach here at University of Central Florida, and I probably talk to him every 2 weeks. Wow. And so I think that the thing we have to remember in business, just like on that, it's not a sports team. They're not just, pawns on a chessboard. They're people. And we're in a human-to-human business. So anything that we do, you could tell with them, it was like, okay, if their girlfriend broke up with them, they were going to be a different person on the field for a couple of days. If they were stressed out about chemistry, they were going to be a different person on the field. And so that was just such a wonderful kind of laboratory for me, or learning experience for me, to know that when you're working with clients, it's not just this transactional, you pay me, I host workouts. It's no, I'm helping you lead a better life, and I have to be cognizant of the fact that this is just a piece of your life. It's not the whole thing.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that, because that's what most people are missing, I believe, when I spectate outside and meet with people. Because what you went through in the coaching, you have that closer relationship that I went through. I still talk to my coach, so I can definitely testify to that, what you just said. But I have learned so much from it, looked up to the coach. I can say only good things, of course bad things too, but I learned so much from it. But what I'm seeing is, and what you're saying, that I see so many entrepreneurs and business owners who look at their employees as assets and nothing else. And then they prefer that they just show up, don't ask questions, don't do anything, just do their job, collect money, and then leave. And then what you just said is exactly the opposite, because you actually care and develop them to become a better leaders, better human, better everything. So that's what probably made you successful, and not anything else. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with where you are today, because that's a huge deal.
Yeah, let's face it, the quality of our relationships probably are going to be the defining factor in the quality of our life, professionally, personally. So if you are helping the people in your kind of universe, be it your team members or your clients or your family or your friends, if you're helping them have a better experience, then invariably your experience is going to be better as well. Somebody doesn't come to you just for a paycheck and show up and punch the clock and stay forever, right? Yes. The only way that this is going to be something that they're pouring themselves into is if you're pouring yourselves into them, if you care about them, and if they understand, not just understand the vision for your business, but they have to embrace it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? And if you do that, now we're empowering these folks to go out there and do great work, because we've said, okay, you know what, we're on the same page, we're pulling the rope in the same direction, we're both trying to have this type of impact, and then because of the value we deliver, because of that impact, we're going to be rewarded too. We're going to be rewarded with more financial opportunity or better career opportunities or whatever that is. But it's a value exchange, and you have to, I think, invest in people that way to get them to see this. And it's not just this transaction. You show up from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock and I'll pay you X number of dollars.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right now, when you're obviously coaching various businesses of all sizes, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're helping them in any one particular area over another? Like, is there a general struggle that people seem to have, or just a little bit of everything?
I mean, it's definitely a little bit of everything. There are certain things that probably pop up more than others, and one is understanding the harmony between personal and professional, and making sure that as a business owner, it's your responsibility. You're the one saying, I'm going to make the decisions in this organization. So you can't really play victim to any of this. So you have to decide, what, and I use the word kind of harmony maybe instead of balance, because balance might imply that everything's even. Right? And it's not. I mean, there's an ebb and a flow. Ideally, if you're on vacation, it shouldn't be 50-50. But if you're in the fitness industry, and you're in the middle of January or February, and you may have to allocate a little bit more time to that. But we talk a lot about pursuing both success personally and professionally, and that's an area that I think I spend a disproportionate amount of time on compared to others. And then the second thing would be really getting clear about what success is and building a plan to get there, rather than just kind of drifting or being reactive to the things that come your way, or just equating bigger with necessarily better. I mean, I would like to think that with the amount of effort and time that so many business owners put in, they can achieve some really profound things, but they just need to be focused so that they're allocating that time and resource to the place they want to go, rather than just hoping that if they show up every day, they arrive at some appealing destination.
Yeah, guys, hope you take notes, because these are some golden nuggets that he's sharing. And I wanted to point out that everybody should probably follow you and go to your websites and everything, just because I always say that, but you have went through basically everything. So my point is, you're not one of those people that now, especially today, which I'm going to ask your opinion on it in a minute, is that everybody is an expert online, because of Instagram, social media, Facebook, and they just put their title there that now they are consultants, coaches for gyms. I help your gym get 100 members in a month.
Yeah, I see a lot of that, especially it seems like every day in LinkedIn, I'm getting somebody reaching out telling me they can add X number of people to my gym in, the blink of an eye, and my opinion on that, gosh, I try to be objective about it and think back. Okay, early in my career as a baseball coach, why did I believe that I could go speak in front of? I mean, I was speaking at clinics where there were a lot of people with a lot more experience than me and everything else, and so I know that I spoke on things that I had proven success with. And so I try to be as fair in assessing this as possible, but I also recognize that, right now it's so easy for somebody to kind of be opportunistic and say, well, I see this other person doing this, and really all it requires of me is to invest in some Facebook ads and update my LinkedIn profile or something like that. And so the barrier to entry to start a business is really different than it's ever been, right? And do I mean, I'm obviously not a fan of it. I think that somebody probably needs to have been able to prove they can do something for a sustained period of time or in a sustained way, because being able to just pass a tactic along to somebody doesn't make somebody an expert, and it certainly doesn't empower them to coach and serve. But at the same time, it's what's even worse is a lot of the people that are out there. I mean, so I shared this online yesterday in one of my groups. So I saw in a Facebook group that I'm in, there was a social media marketing expert asking how to get clients. He didn't understand how other people got clients so easily. I'm like, so you're telling people you're an expert in essentially marketing,
And you can go.
but you don't know how to market. And that's probably where I think the biggest problem is, right? I mean, we kind of arrived at a point in time where, I mean, expert is a word that doesn't really mean anything. But, I would say for the people listening or watching this, it's just a reminder that we all need to probably do our homework, and the internet allows everybody to kind of portray themselves in whatever light they choose. And it's the same thing that I think that local business owners face, right? They have competition where other gyms or trainers or network marketing companies or whatever else all promise weight loss or improved health and fitness, and there's nobody really vetting their claims. So it puts you as the consumer in the place to not just respond emotionally or irrationally and vet and do homework. And what's cool is it's probably easier now than ever to do some investigation, do your due diligence before making a decision.
What you just said, I just wanted to say that, guys, the best way to do it, what he just mentioned, is you can go online and look up what they have done. And I use my rule that the only people I take advice from is the people I would like to switch places with in that category. So if, in your case, of course, you have done so many things that I would like to do or going towards to it, so I know that I can learn from you. And then there are so many people online that you can find, and they have not done anything, just like you mentioned, but they claim they are it. But just by doing simple homework can save you thousands of dollars, because some of those masterminds can cost just as much, if not more.
Yeah, it's it's just different. I mean, I've been doing kind of business coaching and using the internet as a vehicle to connect with people for 15 years now. And at that point, it was probably a lot less harmless, because you could put together an ebook and you can be an expert there, but somebody's only going to be out $47 or something. But now, everybody is a high ticket expert. And and where the problem really lies is a lot of the people that are making those purchases are struggling, and they're in kind of desperation mode. So they're spending their last bit of money, and in fact, a lot of those sites, those people's websites, they'll have these kind of alternate funding sources where you can go get these awful loans that have just terrible interest rates to pay for them. And so now you're digging yourself a bigger hole, and all you really wanted to do was trust in somebody and get some help. So I think it's the same thing that we would tell clients of any fitness business is, do your homework. You're going to trust in somebody to help you. You're going to ask them to kind of stand by your side and walk with you to take you from where you are to where you want to be. You should probably do a little bit of investigation to make sure that's the right person.
Pat, thank you for everything. I know you're very busy today, and we have to wrap this up, but I could be going on all day long with you, because you're just giving out so much amazing information to our listeners. And any last things that you would like to share to either our audience, or anything where they can find you, or I know that you have some sort of a giveaway for all of our amazing listeners, right?
So, I guess the last thing that I would say is, I've seen it not just with myself, but I've seen it with so many of the people who I've had the privilege of coaching or working with, that you can have a profound impact, whether you're talking about a local fitness business or online or whatever else, and do it in a way that doesn't detract from your ability to have a wonderful personal life. You can earn the income that you deserve for the value you're providing. You can do it, but you're not going to do it by accident. You need to have a plan, whether you're leaning on somebody like me or somebody like you, or a handful of other people out there who are doing great work to help you, but you need to have a plan to do it. And what's great is when you have that plan, you're also doing better work for the clients you're serving, not just for your family, but you're helping them see that, yes, you can have this full life where you're healthy, you're fit, but you're also getting to enjoy the benefits of that because you're getting to live doing the things that you're excited and passionate about. As far as the gift, if anybody would like to get a copy of my most recent book, The Ideal Business Formula, we've got that at patrigsby.com/FitBiz, FITBIZ, and a couple other gifts. I mean, we want to make sure that, there's only so much we can cover in the time we have together, but there's, I kind of go into the whole blueprint of how I was able to kind of re-engineer a business that allows me to have what I would consider that balance or mix of personal and professional. And so I've documented it all in the book, so happy to share.
In this book?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. I'm definitely going to get it. I read lots of books, by the way. So your books, I already, most of them are in the cart and put into my queue as which month I'm going to read them. So I cannot wait, actually.
A lot of writing. I've written a daily email newsletter for 14 straight years without missing a day. So there's a lot of writing.
Daily.
Yeah. So.
Wow. That is impressive.
Goals.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I bet. Yeah. Man,
that.
Pat, thank you very much. We appreciate it. These have been amazing. I think we have to come back again to do another episode, and then we can get into the details of what you just said, because you opened up the door for a whole other thing for our next episode. But we really appreciate it, and thank you very much for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me. It's truly been my pleasure, and really excited to just be part of what you guys are doing. You're doing great work. Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, please rate the show, please share it, please comment, send us questions, and don't forget to get your free gift at patrigsby.com/FitBiz.
Yeah.
Thank you.